Hey everybody, it's Tom, and let's get dangerous. That's right, today we're taking a look at Darkwing Duck, kind of an odd action platformer for the TurboGrafx 16 and the Turbo Duo. This was actually released during the time of the Turbo Duo. That's why the publisher of this game is Turbo Technologies Incorporated. That was the company that NEC Electronics spun off in order to continue marketing PC Engine titles in the US. It didn't do very well. It was really a neat console, it just did not sell very well. It was targeted at the coasts. It was just kind of an odd duck, so to speak. Now, we're not really doing a full-fledged Let's Play on this particular game. I mostly just wanted to show it off a little bit. I know that the request we got for Darkwing Duck was really for the more notable NES version, but I wanted to show off the strange PC Engine version as well. It's not really as strange as other PC Engine or TurboGrafx 16 titles. I don't even know if this actually came out in Japan. I have a feeling it didn't. I know they like Disney things over there, but I don't know if they ever really got Darkwing Duck. So I'll be doing a full Let's Play of the Nintendo version that was made by Capcom. That is far better. I'm just lousy at it, and I need a little bit more practice, so I figured I'd show off some of the PC Engine TurboGrafx game instead. That's enough of me babbling. Let me tell you what you've been looking at. At the beginning of the game, you get your choice of 3 stages. There are 4 main villains you have to beat the first 3 first. And in order to defeat them, you go to their stage and you collect puzzle pieces. That's what that indicator up there is. Once you have all the puzzle pieces, you unlock the boss. And I will show you some of that. You can actually see in this stage, the boss just kind of hangs out. There he is there. That's Megawatt. I don't know if anybody here has ever seen the Darkwing Duck TV show. This was a television show. It was a spin-off of the far more popular DuckTales. I don't recall it lasting very long. It was one of the first titles that seemed to get swapped into the Disney afternoon programming block and seemed to disappear almost as quickly as it came. I have a feeling that's because I seem to recall when it came out that Batman the Animated Series started around the same time, and the notion of a duck parody of Batman didn't seem as interesting as Batman proper. I just got electrocuted by one of the platforms. I'm not exactly sure how that works. There's a lot of really weird things in this game, such as I'm shooting the crap out of that enemy with the gas gun, which is your only weapon. You just have different ammunition types for it. I was actually trying to switch ammo types there, which is not a thing you can do. You can do that in the NES game. We'll see that a little bit later. But no, whatever ammunition type you picked up last is the ammunition type you have going forward at that point. And yes, you have to pick up the ammunition. You notice here I'm out, and ammunition is kind of few and far between. It does return to the level after you die. You can see, I think I picked up that before. I could shoot at Megawatt here, but it won't do anything. And it appears to be the case that different types of ammunition damage different enemies, but I'm not really sure if that's the case. I really only messed around with this one stage. The other 2 stages you can pick from the beginning feature the villains Tusker Nini, who's kind of a walrus, and Moriarty, who is a mole. All of the villains are funny animals in this, and they seem to be references to other kind of comic book or crime fighter kind of things. The big bad is Steelbeak. All of these villains were featured on the show. I vaguely remember them. I have no idea if the Negaduck appears in here. That's the villain that I most vividly remember from the show. He was basically an alternate universe version of Darkwing Duck who was evil. Standard kind of trope. I don't know if he's in this game at all. I haven't been able to beat this level, and I wasn't able to beat the Tuscarnini level. I haven't played the Moriarty or the Moriarty level. I don't know if I'm going to. For a few reasons. I don't know if I'm really going to revisit this game because I hate the platforming. The jumps are really weird. Floaty is usually the kind of word used to describe them. I feel like they're almost as bad as the jumping in Shaq Fu, which is the kind of jumping that works great in a game like Flashback or Another World, but not in a cartoon platformer when you have to make really tight, precise jumps. And here you are, making these massive vertical leaps. And it's not like I can run and jump either. Darkwing Duck doesn't have the skills of Mario or anything like that. And the other big problem I have is the ammunition. You have to find all of it. You don't start the level with any. You have to go looking for it. If you go back to the beginning of the playthrough here, I completely missed some at the beginning that I think I find later in this video that may or may not make this release. I'm probably only going to say a few more things, and you can find the raw footage with no voiceover in my raw footage playlist. I think I'm going to do that for every game I play from here on out. If I'm recording it, I'm just going to put up everything I recorded. No rhyme or reason or titling on it, and anybody can use that footage. Not that I think my footage is absolutely great or anything, but the system I've worked out here for recording off both DOSBox and emulators seems to come out pretty good. So I'm offering that to the community. There's no reason for me to really hang on to that. So you can see the full stuff there if you're bored and want to listen to that terrible song over and over again. My levels are probably far too high, but at this point I don't care. I'm probably going to jump ahead a little bit here. The stages themselves are pretty short. At one point I actually walked off the edge of the level and it just ended, but I didn't have all the puzzle pieces, so it told me my mission failed. But I could, if I wanted to, switch to a different villain to go after, and you actually get the ability to use those puzzle pieces. You put them all together, it reveals the clues. You have to kind of do a sliding puzzle with it. It's not really like a sliding block puzzle or anything like that, but you move the pieces around on a big board, and once you solve that puzzle, you get to go fight Steelbeak. There's probably Let's Plays recorded by far better people than I. I do kind of like the aesthetic of the game. I think Darkwing could use a few more frames of animation. But I like the clouds flying overhead and that kind of bizarre fake parallax that a lot of TurboGrafx games had. I like some of the villains. They're very animated and large sprites, which was common for the TurboGrafx 16, but I'm really not a huge fan of the platforming or the fact that you don't even have like crap ammunition that you can fire a lot, which is something we'll see with the NES game. You get a standard weapon that you can fire over and over again. In this game, you only have what you can find, and once you're out of it, you're out of it. That's it. You start with nothing when you return to the level as well. It's not my thing. I think we're about to see me walk off the edge of the level. I guess I'm winding things up quite a bit here. I'll probably skip through the puzzle piece bit and whatnot, but I picked up some ammunition and thinking that there might be more. Nope. Mission failed. And we'll be back right after these messages. Alright, I've jumped ahead quite a bit. I went back into the level because having one stage worth of puzzle pieces and not even really having all of them doesn't do me a whole lot of good in figuring out the clue for Steelbeak. I figured I'd jump ahead here. You basically have to walk through the entire level again. I had a good feeling when I was playing it of where that last puzzle piece was. So I'm going to collect that last puzzle piece, and then we're going to have us a boss fight. So there's the puzzle piece. I make the jump. I got quite a bit better at the platforming this late into the game, but I still thought it was terrible. And here's where my next big problem came in. Because I had wasted my ammunition, which is partially my fault, but also partially the game's fault, because it appears they've never played an action platformer before. Yes, it's more realistic that Darkwing Duck only has a limited number of gas canisters, but it seems silly that he doesn't have some kind of reserve weapon or using his bloody hands. You know, he's also got those big, stupid webbed feet and then no pants on those legs, so he could probably kick pretty well. It seems like Darkwing Duck as a crime fighter should be able to get into a good bit of pugilism, but nope, he just uses the gas gun in here, and he doesn't even bring any ammunition with him to the crime scene to apprehend these crazy super criminals. What is wrong with him? I know he was kind of a bumbling parody of Batman on the show, but he wasn't this inept. I can promise you that. So here I have completely run out of ammunition, so I'm basically just dead duck walking, and I'm going to let Megawatt kill me. I think Megawatt is kind of a rat. I think that's his thing, and there we go. There's a nice game over screen. I had chosen easy back at the beginning, which I think enabled me to have this many lives, but that's really it. Yeah, I wasn't kidding. I don't have anything else to say about Darkwing Duck for the TurboGrafx 16. Thanks for watching, and the bear hugs are always free.